All right, everybody, it's the clock. Meeting to order. This meeting is being conducted electronically with live public access for the protection of the health, safety, and welfare of the public due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. With that being said, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Willie Campbell.
Here.
Mark Blevins.
Here.
Robert Acuff. Nancy Brown.
Here.
Mike Hill. Patty Woodby.
Here.
Bradley Johnson.
Here.
Mark Tester.
Here.
Charles Von Cannon.
Present.
Isaiah Grindstaff. Jerry Prophet.
Here.
Austin James.
Here.
Ross Garland.
Here.
Layla Ward.
Here.
Ginger Holdren.
Here.
Randall Jenkins. Gary Bailey.
Here.
Travis Hill.
Present.
Sonja Culler.
Present.
Aaron Frazier.
Here.
Robin McCamey.
Present.
Kelly Collins.
Here.
Thomas Prophet.
Here.
Quorum present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Before we jump into item 3, if you will, on any votes tonight, will you say yes or no? So it's easier for the clerk to keep up with the minutes. Also, if you keep all your mics muted until you're ready to speak, I will give time after each question to give time for people to open up their mics and comment. So with that being said, we'll move on to item 3, which is approval of the agenda. I need to amend the agenda, please. I would like to add 7A in, and that will be recognizing Mr. Von Cannon, who will speak on the life of Fred Congdon. Is there any more additions or deletions?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Blevins.
I'd like to add to the agenda the Carter County road list report and get it approved tonight.
Okay. We'll make that 7B. Is that you said the road approval list?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Road approval list will be 7B. Any more additions? Okay, I will entertain that.
Approve as amended, Mike Hill, District 2.
Motion by Mr. Hill,
Second it, Mark Blevins, District 1.
second by Vice Chairman Blevins. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Willie Campbell.
Aye.
Mark Blevins. Robert Acuff.
Yes.
Nancy Brown.
Yes.
Mike Hill.
Yes.
Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Bradley Johnson.
Yes.
Mark Tester.
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon.
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff.
Yes.
Jerry Prophet.
Yes.
Austin James.
Yes.
Ross Garland.
Yes.
Layla Ward.
Yes.
Ginger Holdren. Ginger Holdren. Randall Jenkins.
Yep.
Gary Bailey.
Yes.
Travis Hill.
Yes.
Sonja Culler.
Yes.
Aaron Frazier.
Yes.
Robin McCamey.
Yes.
Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
Ginger Holdren.
Yes.
All yeses.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item is our opening prayer with Commissioner Willie Campbell. If you all will, I've got a call this afternoon that maybe the sheriff may have had a medical situation, so if you'll keep him in your prayers. But Mr. Campbell, I'll turn over the floor to you.
Heavenly Father, God, Lord, should bow our heads today, Lord, and thank you for another day, Lord, that you've given us. Lord, we thank you, Lord, that you let us get up and put our feet to the floor and take another breath. Lord, we know that we can do nothing without you, but Lord, we know that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens each one of us, God. Lord, tonight we do pray, Lord, and if the sheriff is having some problems, Lord, we pray you intervene there. And Lord, we do pray, Lord, for everyone, Lord, on this commission board. God, they all have some sickness, Lord. We all have lost people. Lord, we just pray, God, that you'll intervene there. Lord, we can never thank you enough for each prayer that you've answered for us, each miracle that you've worked in our lives. But God, most of all, we thank you for your son, Jesus Christ, who gave his life for us. Thanking God that our names are written in the Lamb's book of life. Lord, knowing that one day, Lord, that we'll be with you, Lord, because your word says to be absent from this body is to be present with you. Lord, tonight we do pray, Lord, for each thing that takes place here tonight, Lord, we conduct ourselves in a mighty way. Lord, we ask these things in thy name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, we move on to item 5, which is the acceptance of the September meeting minutes.
Motion to approve, Aaron Frazier, 7th.
Motion by Mr. Frazier, second by Mr. Jenkins. Any additions, deletions? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Billy Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Roy Acuff,
Yes.
call him Roy. Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Carrie Bailey,
Yes.
say yes, Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sonja Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
all ayes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item is approval of notaries and bonds.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Oh, wait.
Aaron Frazier.
How much?
I was gonna read them first. Go ahead, do it first. Oops.
Patty Fields, Tara Pate, Caleb McDaniel, Pamela J. Hutchins, Tina Klein, Janet P. Denny, Jonathan R. Wilson, Joanne Morton, Whitney Blevins, Richard Norris, Rebecca Smith, Melissa Moreland, Rebecca C. Prophet, and add-on is Angela D. Kaiser and Tanya K. Jeffers.
Motion approved.
Second, Aaron Frazier, 7th.
Is there a motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Frazier? Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Billy Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sonja Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
all ayes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item on the agenda is a resolution on the life of Mayor Rusty Barnett. I believe we'll call him Chairman Acuff.
Thank you, Chairman Hill. This came through the Health and Welfare Committee. Appreciate Attorney Harden putting together the pros. I thought it was quite good. And also for Commissioner Mike Hill to recommend that we name the station, if you will, the first responder station in Butler after Mayor Barnett. Because I think it's important that this be a part of the record and the recording, I would like to ask Attorney Harden to read it into the record, please, if that's okay with you, Chair.
Yes, sir. Attorney Harden.
Yes, sir. This is a resolution
honoring the life of Mayor Russell Rusty Dale Barnett and his service to the citizens of Carter County, and dedicating the fire EMS substation in Butler, Tennessee in his honor. Whereas Russell Rusty Dale Barnett was born on September 6, 1955 in Elizabethton, Tennessee, the son of John and Imogen Campbell Barnett. Whereas Mr. Barnett was a 1973 graduate of Hampton High School and attended Northeast State Community College. Whereas Mr. Barnett worked for 2 years with the Carter County Sheriff's Office before finding his true calling at the Elizabethton Fire Department, where he served the citizens of Carter County and Elizabethton for 38 years, attaining the rank of Deputy Fire Chief. Whereas during his off-duty hours at the Elizabethton Fire Department, Mr. Barnett found additional ways to make significant contributions to his community and Carter County by serving in other roles, such as court bailiff for the Carter County Sheriff's Department and as chairman of the Carter County School Board. Whereas Mr. Barnett also found the time to serve in other ways, such as his roles as a substitute school teacher in the school system and a coach for various local baseball, basketball, and football teams. It seems wherever there was a need in Carter County, Rusty would find a way to fill that need. Whereas upon his retirement from the Elizabethton Fire Department after such a long and successful career as a public servant, Mr. Barnett could have simply spent his days relaxing, but instead he was sworn in as mayor of Carter County on the very same day his retirement became effective. Whereas Mr. Barnett was beloved as mayor and fiercely advocated for the citizens of not just Carter County, but all of Northeast Tennessee through his service on the many local and regional boards associated with his office. Whereas Mayor Rusty Barnett passed away on September 21, 2020, and will be greatly missed by all who knew him. Whereas his dedication to his community and the citizens of Carter County during his life clearly illustrates that he had a servant's heart and a deep love for the people of Carter County, and his legacy of serving others is an example for us all. Whereas it is appropriate for the Board of County Commissioners to honor those whose selfless public service has benefited their community and the citizens of Carter County in significant ways. Whereas as an additional tribute to Mayor Barnett, due to his instrumental efforts in establishing the fire EMS substation in Butler, Tennessee, the Board of County Commissioners also desires to formally dedicate the substation in his honor. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners for Carter County, Tennessee, meeting in regular session on this the 19th day of October 2020, with a lawful quorum of said board being present and with the majority vote voting in the affirmative as follows. Number one, that the board hereby adopts this resolution to formally recognize and honor the life of Mayor Russell Rusty Dale Barnett and his service to the citizens of Carter County during his lifetime. Number two, that the board hereby officially dedicates the fire EMS substation in Butler, Tennessee in his honor and designates said substation as the Mayor Rusty Barnett Memorial Substation. Be it further resolved, this resolution shall take effect from and after the date of its approval, the welfare of the county demanding.
I make a motion to accept. Nancy Brown.
Aaron
Second,
Fraser,
Mike Hill.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Brown and a second by Mr. Hill. Any more discussion?
Chairman, ACUF First District, I would like for us also to look forward. I don't know where we're going to be in the COVID pandemic or how we can do it, but obviously doing something outside as soon as we can. Maybe Kim Barnett and family would join us, but a ribbon cutting and an official naming of that facility, that we work towards that as soon as possible.
Yes, sir, Chairman Acuff. We'll stay together on that and set a date and find out when they can meet.
Thank you, sir.
So no further discussion. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yeah.
Mark Castor,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Terry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins, Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yeah.
Sonja Color,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McKinney,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion passed. Thank you. Next item on the list will be, we'll recognize Mr. Von Cannon, who will give us a little background on the life of Fred Congdon.
Thank you, Mr. Travis Hill. All of you, I suppose, got a copy of the County News, a publication of the Tennessee County Services Association. This is our commissioner group that we generally meet in Jonesboro, that we didn't, of course, won't until the pandemic is over. But on the front page, you have a photo of Mayor Barnett and a couple other gentlemen and a man by the name of Fred Congdon. I don't have something written in the resolution form, but I do have something that would give you some idea of who this gentleman was. He's a county mayor, of course, of Unicoi County. One of the youngest county mayors ever elected in the state of Tennessee. He served only a couple, 3 terms, but then he was tapped to become the executive director of the County Mayors Association. In other words, just like Charlie Curtis is the executive director of the Commissioners Association. But a county mayor could go to him and he answered questions just like Charlie Curtis will answer questions. But I've written down some things of how I knew Fred. Fred Congdon was a Unicoi County executive when I first met him in the mid-'80s. At the time of his election, he was one of the youngest county mayors in Tennessee. In 1990, he became the executive director of the Tennessee County Mayors Association and moved to the Nashville area. At that time, I was already living in Nashville, working with the state. Due to my position in the state government, I attended the annual County Mayors Association convention, usually held in Gatlinburg. And Fred Congdon often provided a musical program for the mayors. He often did show tunes from Porgy and Bess, such as Summertime. And nobody ever in my life sang Summertime the way Fred Congdon could sing it. He had a great voice, and it surprised me to learn later that bluegrass was his musical passion. When he moved to Nashville, he wanted to record some of his material. He was a writer, and he asked me if I knew anyone in the music industry and could introduce him via a live presentation. I had met by accident Lon Varnell, a booking agent for Barbara Mandrell, and he also was a booking agent for several of the acts that came about after the cancellation of a music program on TV. I met Lon literally by accident. His white Cadillac and my old Chevy in Capitol Towers. Capitol Towers is a mixed office and resident building across the street from Tennessee Capitol Building. Lon lived in the building, and as director of the Tennessee Industrial Training Service, I had several offices for our staff. Our parking spaces, Lon's parking space, my parking space, were adjacent in the daylight basement of the towers. And Lon came in one night and tried to enlarge his parking space with his white Cadillac. Later, while I was having the first car repaired, believe it or not, Lon might have been a little pot-eyed, as we say. It happened again with my second car in his blue Cadillac. I made arrangements with Lon Varnell to hear Fred, and made arrangements with Curtis Green at the Stockyard Lounge to yield a mic. Curtis later became vice president of Sony Records. Quite an accomplishment for a young man from Durant, Oklahoma. Lon and I were on station. Curtis Green was going to give up the mic, and you guessed it, Fred Congdon was a no-show. At his request for a second chance, I declined, because I had really gone through a big deal to get that arranged, and I declined for a second opportunity. Several years later, his group, known as Twisted Lester, did cut a CD. One of the songs outlined men who were prominent in Tennessee history, such as David Crockett, Andrew Jackson, and several others, including Cordell Hull. The song in 1956 was voted by the Tennessee legislature to be one of our state official songs, along with the Tennessee Waltz and the unofficial state song, Rocky Top. The name of the song, The Pride of Tennessee. How many of you have ever heard it? So you've got a treat coming, not tonight, maybe. It is a good song. It does outline all those people. But I want to say, Fred Congdon, he was a knowledgeable person, was in the position for 25 years. And he is not coming back to Unicoi, though. He's going to be buried in the Nashville area. Rest in peace, Fred Congdon. You're much more than a musician. You are a true credit to our beloved Tennessee. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. Next item is the road approval list. Mr. Blevins.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman. If y'all got the road list back, should have been a couple months ago, maybe 3 months ago, that it went out to everybody. And as far as I know, it's up to date. It's best it can be. And I'd just like to put it in the form of a motion.
Second.
To adopt this Carter County road list for 2020.
Mr. Hill, there's 2 or 3 things on the list, and we haven't met since I've found them, that I'd like to put this off for, because we don't have to have that road list in, Roger. Correct me if I'm wrong. We don't have to have the road list in to the state until January the 1st. Is that correct? Roger?
Charlie, we didn't get it approved in January because we're still working on the update. And it's not been approved for this year at all.
But it doesn't have to be into the state until January 1.
For the year 21, it don't have to be into January. That's correct.
And this is the 20 list?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It'll be the 21. It'll be
the 21 list we can correct then. I apologize.
Have a motion by Mr. Blevins, second by Mr. James. Any more discussion? Madam Clerk, call.
Mr. Chairman, Brad Johnson, 3rd District.
Yes, Mr. Johnson.
The question is, has that list been sent to 911 for verification? Both of them verifying both ways, that way they have correct addresses on 911 calls?
Yes, it's been sent.
Okay, thanks. No further.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any further discussion?
I'd say a lot of work and hard time went into this, making this road list, but believe me, appreciate the one that did it too, all of them.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Any more discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Lee Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill. Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sandra Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes. What is going on?
all ayes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item is mayoral report with interim mayor Patty Whitby.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we are beginning our 4th week, and I am as interim mayor in the mayor's office, and we've been working on a few things. So I'm just going to give you a little rundown of some of the stuff the office has been working on. The substation, the lights and water will be hooked up this week. We also went up and spoke with Daniel Arnett's class, and they redone the CAD drawings for me on the Fish Springs Park because we really couldn't locate the recent ones. So that park has been in the works, but we're also getting with Union Baptist Board to discuss maybe them donating another tract of land that adjoins that to make the park a much bigger park. We think those discussions could go pretty well. The courthouse security project's moving right along. The new tile is down in the hallway, and they're still in Mary's office painting, or they may be close to finished painting. I'm not sure, but they're close. So it's moving right along, and it looks great. I don't have any updates on the resort. I was scheduled to go visit there 2 Fridays ago. I planned to go up and tour the location, but they reached out to me and asked me to not come right now due to heavy machinery and equipment being there. They didn't think it was good timing, and it was apparently a little muddy. So I'm waiting on an update so I can get up there and see kind of what's going on with all that. We're going to plan on doing a tour of the chamber building this week for, as you know, the chamber's moving to the downtown location. So they will be out of that building by the end of the month. And I thought we would maybe interested in looking at that building. The city does plan to sell it, just as an idea for maybe archives or the UT extension. I'm told there's a big kitchen, a nicely renovated kitchen in there. So it was just an idea, and we plan to look at it this week to kind of see what it may look like and what it may need. Let's see. The storage unit at the Workforce Development Complex has been rekeyed and cleaned out for county office file storage. We will begin that tomorrow. The 3rd floor will be completely cleaned out, and all office storage will be moved there this week. There will be no more piled up office storage. It will all be there. Every office holder will have a key to go to that location to get their storage out or get it as they need it. It's heated, so it's not going to be cold. It's a nice location. They can go in there. We'll put tables in there so they can sit down and look through their stuff and see what they need. We've been doing some landscaping around the courthouse grounds, and it's in the final stages, and it's looking really good. If anybody wants to come by and take a look at it. We're going to do elections office landscaping also. We're not going to begin that until after the election because she's wanting some stuff done over there. It's a little overgrown, so we're going to try to remove some of the stuff that was planted there that's overshadowing the building. We've had all the courthouse carpets, courtroom chairs, bathrooms all cleaned and sanitized by Stacy's Carpet. The boiler's working great. Maintenance fixed the condensation return pump and replaced all the seals, which saved us several hundreds of dollars after we contacted Norwell, and they told us how much they would charge us. Our maintenance guys really done a number on it and fixed it right up. Hardly no money involved. Also, the boiler room was completely full of 30 bags of cans, several water hoses. They couldn't even get into the boiler room to do maintenance on that. So we had the work gang come over, clean that out. They hauled off all the cans. So now the maintenance guys can actually get in there and do the work on the boiler that they've not been able to really do because they can't maneuver around in that room. Winchester Flooring will be putting flooring down in Jared's office. That is scheduled to begin November 18th and will take 3 days. That flooring will look like Randall's flooring in his office, really nice. Just an update on elections. They've been voting over 100 people per hour. So we've kept Tracy and her staff, kept stocked with sanitized wipes, routine morning cleanings, also including on Saturday mornings to keep everything clean and sanitized. They've done a wonderful job, and their voting procedure is great during this pandemic. I went over and early voted last week, and it was smooth. Everything's clean, just a real smooth transition. And the COVID cases, as everybody knows, they seem to be on the rise in Carter County. We currently today have 17 new cases, which puts us at 129 cases, active cases right now. We haven't had 17 new cases. Well, since the 15th, we had 20, but we're seeing a little bit of an uptick in those cases. So that's just a little bit from the mayor's office. Any questions?
Hang in there, Mayor, you're doing a good job.
Mayor.
She is, Brad, get used to it.
No, Mayor, that's a horse.
All right, guys. Mayor Woodby, did you have a appointment at 911
Yeah.
board tonight?
Also, we have the next thing on my agenda that I need to discuss with the commission. We have an opening on the 911 board that was opened by Michael Schaus, who passed away. And so that appointment comes to the decision of the mayor. And I have decided to appoint Kim Birchfield, and that was upon unanimous vote from the city council. That was their recommendation for the city spot. And after extensive research and fact checking today on this position, I feel that he's the best candidate for this spot, and it is a 4-year term. So I will need a motion and a second and confirmation for this appointment.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Kim Birchfield for that position.
I'll second it. Nancy Brown.
We have a motion by Mr. Chester, second by Ms. Brown, to nominate Kim Birchfield to the 911 board. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert A. Cuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sonja Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion passed. Congratulations, Mr. Birchfield.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Blevins.
I'd like to speak a word right now if I could.
You are recognized, Mr. Blevins.
Okay, last month's meeting, I was made fun of by Sonia Collar the way I talk. And tonight it's happened by Commissioner Johnson. I think it's a time to put a stop to it. You will respect me, I respect you, and I expect the same respect out of each and every commission. And if you've got a problem with me, come and see me. Don't go behind my back and talk about me. I'm proud of my voice. It's what the good Lord's given me. And if people like you want to downgrade yourself by making fun of people, that's fine. But I'll be damned if I'm going to take it anymore. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Blevins. Mayor Woodby, any further?
Nothing further.
Thank you. We'll move on to committee reports. Vice Chairman James, would you care to go ahead and give the Budget Committee report?
Why, sure. All right, if everybody will turn over to the budget packets. All right. First in the budget, and I put in form of a motion, is to appropriate funds of $142,500 from the governor's local government support grant, which is 13469800020, to be used by Carter County Highway Department towards the purchase of 2 new Ford F-550 trucks, and to the line item 13168000714-020.
I'll second it. Nancy Brown.
A motion by Mr. James, second by Ms. Brown. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert A. Cup,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet, Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins, Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Tanja Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
They did.
Randall Jenkins. All ayes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, next, second, I put into a form of a motion to appropriate funds of $144,836.36, line item 131-47990, received from work performed on Swimming Pool Road project to purchase slope mowers. And it's going to go in the same account, 13168000714.
Motion to approve. Mark
Second.
Blevins.
We have the motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Blevins. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert A. Cup,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Tanja Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion passed. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Number 3, I put in form of a motion to leave the planning department's 2021 budget unchanged.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Garland. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Blevins.
Other words, we're gonna give him a $2,500 raise. Is that what we're saying?
I believe that's correct, Mr. James. Mr. Burke, do you want to comment on that?
Okay. Yes, there is a raise for the supervisor, director in that budget. I know we've discussed it several times already. My take on it is, I'll give that again, that the budget actually increased $50,000 or so. Once you consider that the electrical permits that were previously collected by the planning department, then turned over to the state, are no longer in that planning department budget. Therefore, you would think that the budget would decrease by that amount, since that was no longer needed. That was no operational cost.
Well, I don't think it's fair that we give him a $2,500 raise and don't give none of the rest of the departments a $2,500 raise. That's just me, that's just my opinion. Last year, we gave him $15,000 right at it as a bonus, which all knows I was against that. But this year, we're doing it again. I just can't see that. That's just me speaking out for myself.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Bailey.
this is for Brad Burke also. I know we're talking about the $56,000 right there in the planning. If that's not going there, where's that going and how's that coming in? I'm still a little confused. Okay, they used to do it, now they don't. So where is that money now?
Okay, those funds are paid directly to the state now by the customer. And then the county gets back a $5 per permit fee from the state.
Okay, so when he had that coming in, was that staying in his line item?
It was paid from the planning department budget. Previous to, I think it was up to 2018-19, it was paid from other charges category, not from the planning department. And it made sense to move that up to the planning department, even though it was just simply a flow through.
But now that it's not there, you're saying they're keeping the 56,000.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, that was incorrect. That has, since we've been writing electrical permits for Carter County, there's always been at least $33,600 within our budget within those line items. Thank you, sir.
Mr.
Chairman?
Yes, sir, Mr. Burke.
I disagree with that previous statement. I've worked on the budget. I know it was not in the planning, but in the planning's budget up until 2018-19.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir, Mr. Bailey.
There's apparently some conflict here of was it, wasn't it, and what's going on. I am asking, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm asking us to put this off till next month till we can get some clarification. At $50-some thousand, I want to know where the people's money's going before I vote.
If we go back and look at the original problems with the budget a couple of years ago when Mr. Burke took over, we had a meeting with myself, Mr. Brad Johnson, chairman of the planning commission, county attorney and all. That's when it went from 33.6 to 56,000. And that has been the 33.6 since right before Truman left office.
It was not in the planning budget.
Mr. Chairman.
I bear to recant. I mean, it was. I know for a fact it was.
Can you show me?
I sure can.
Okay.
That's what I'm asking for, Mr. Chairman. I'd like for this to be put off until we get some clarification.
Second, Mike Hill, District 2.
Okay, so we have Mr. James, would you be willing to remove your motion and Mr. Garland and table this until next month?
Well, I mean, some essence, yes, and in some essence, no. I mean, we're already almost into November. Our physical budget only runs to July. He's currently already operating on this year's budget. I mean, because he has no choice but to operate on it. Because that's what we approved. And personally, the bonuses and the pay raises that we're discussing, if he chooses so, he has the authority, from my understanding, to go up there and request them because that's the budget that he has. Am I incorrect, Director Burke?
In my opinion, the budget is in limbo until a final decision is made on the budget, the total budget that was presented for approval in July.
So what are we paying these bills out of?
We're paying the bills out of I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
go ahead, Mr. Burke.
If we go, Mr. Chairman, if we go with what Mr. Burke says at 56,000, and we go with what Mr. Schuler says at 33.6, that's still $22,400.
Yes, Commissioner Bailey, you are right, but there is a almost $18,000 line item that was created in there and it was in agreement with the Budget Committee for advances on their, when they receive their certifications. So that is where that money is, come from, that the employees will be paid more as they receive their certifications, which has been approved by, the Planning Commission's board. It's essentially step raises or not step raises, but incentivize them for going and getting on their building inspectors, their plumbing inspectors, their different certifications like that. Am I incorrect about that, Director Burke?
That's what we were told.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Blevins, you're recognized.
Okay, another question here. Why, this is Mr. Shula. Why are you asking for a $2,500 raise? What makes you feel that you need $2,500 raise?
That was an investment that was in place due to the fact that we had relieved the duties of the foreman and did not maintain one into this budget period. And I'm doing the additional works of that foreman.
Okay, what kind of certification do you have?
I've got a whole bunch, Mr. Blevins. Just whatever you want to see, I can talk to you about.
Okay, I'll come down and look at them.
All right, I'll be in court all day tomorrow and probably the next day, but I'll be more than welcome to work with you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I still say we put it off till next month till we get some clarification.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Mr. Von Cannon, you're recognized.
I know that Mel has been dismissed, but I also know that Mel had been the one person that had passed test after test after test. What happened to his incentive money that he would have gotten or should have gotten when he was terminated?
Mr. Von Cannon, the incentive pay raises we worked on for several years and was not passed until this year. And also, Mr. Cook has also reached the majority of his certifications, sir.
The question is, though, what happened to his, that incentive went in before that, Chris?
No,
my question.
Right, and your question was our incentive raises did not go into effect until this budget period. And,
July.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, they didn't go in until they were factored in this budget.
I think Gary's right. We need to put this off until we do some checking of other things, not only the pay raise.
Vice Chairman James.
I withdraw.
Mr. Burke and Mr. Schuler, would it be okay for me to set up a meeting with both of you as the budget chair to come and look at this 56.5 and try to work this out and show one way or another that it was there or wasn't there?
Sure.
I'm at your disposal, sir.
And also, on a side note, I expect every one of you all that has a problem with this budget or this issue, I expect every one of you to be at budget next meeting, and we're going to hash this out and quit drawing this out month to month. So we're moving forward with this and putting it behind whatever it may be.
Thank you, sir.
So the motion on the floor is made by Mr. Bailey, second by Mike Hill to table this until November. Any more discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
No.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sandra Culler, No. Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
No.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
20 yeses, 3 noes.
Motion
Motion
passes.
passed.
I'll make sure everybody gets an email when the budget meeting gets, so y'all don't let, slip your mind. Number 4 is motion to request reimbursement of $845,265 for public safety payroll paid during the March 1st, 2020 through September the 30th, 2020 from the CARES Act funds allocated to the county. CARES Act funds of $688,941.36, original grant of $845,265, less the COVID-19 expenditures of $156,323.64 incurred through October the 12th, 2020. It will be retained in the general fund unassigned fund balance until appropriated by the county commission.
I'll second it. Mark Tester.
That's good.
A motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Tester. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert A. Cuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sonja Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
all ayes.
Thank you. Number 5 is I put in form of a motion to appropriate the following from the governor's support grant, 2,683, line item 101-46-980-020, each to assessor and reappraiser's budget for additional cost of a vehicle, to line item 101-52300-716-020 and 101-52310-716-020 for each office.
Charles Von Cannon, second.
Oh, hold on, there's a further part. Well, let's do that in the second one so we can talk about that if anybody's got any questions. Go ahead.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Von Cannon to approve $2,683 for both the appraisal and the assessor's line items for additional vehicles. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Willie Campbell,
Aye.
Mark Blevins,
Aye.
Robert A. Cuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sonja Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
all ayes.
Thank you. All right, next I'll put in the form of a motion to appropriate the following from the governor's support grant, $34,730, line item 101-4698-020 for the purchase of a 21 Dodge Durango for the reappraisal office, line item 101-52310-716-020.
Second.
I'll second.
A motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Campbell to appropriate $34,730 for the purchase of a 2021 Dodge Durango for the reappraisal office. Vice Chairman James, you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so what this is doing, currently the offices only have maintain 3 vehicles. So with the money that was appropriated here, plus last month, that allowed them to purchase 2. This will allow him to purchase 3. So actually we'll change out his whole fleet, which will ensure him new vehicles for 10 to 15 years without having to come request that. Plus on top of that, this is running us a touch more than what the other vehicles are, is because it's a Dodge Durango, which is quite a little bit larger, which Mr. Taylor has always been real good to it and has also directed for us. Any office holder, any employee, like the finance department travels to Nashville sometimes for training. His employees will travel to Nashville for training. You know, he opens it up and extends it for anybody to use. A commissioner, if we need to use it for to do site visits, or if we have travel or something that we have to do in Nashville that's business, it's pretty well a county car that he lets us all use. So, you know, he just requested that if it could be something a little larger, it is something they use to travel back and forth to Nashville, and it's kind of tight to put 3 or 4 people in them smaller vehicles.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Gary Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sandra Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
All ayes.
Thank you. Next, I put form of a motion to set up a reserve account 10134530200 for contributions to help the homeless associated with the revenue account 10144570200 and expenditures account 101555905992000 will be utilized.
Chairman, I would second that. Acuff, First District.
A motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Acuff. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Acuff, is this going into a 503C, or is this a more formal effort to help the homeless? How's that going to be administered?
The committee will make that decision as soon as it meets in the next week or 2. We just needed a reserve account to place funds in. Whether we come out with a 501c3 or some other form, that'll be up to the Homeless Task Force, and that'll be recommended back to the commission.
Or it is a 503C?
Not yet.
Is or is not?
I did not say it would be, sir. I do not know until the Homeless Committee meets.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
When we get
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Gary Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sandra Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
All ayes.
Thank you. Next is put in form of a motion to approve a 5-year contract at $135 a month for the water filtration at the Workforce Development Center line item 101-51810-454-400.
Second, Aaron Fraser.
And just read a little more into that, it's current what we already have. We're just continuing the contract essentially. We're just renewing it.
We have a motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Frazier. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Does anyone know what the school system is doing? It seems to me like you've got the same problem with the school pipes that you would have at the workforce center. Does anybody have any idea what the school system is doing? Same problem.
If I'm not mistaken, this is for the entire facility. It's not just for the everything. It's Northeast State. It's for the whole thing.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Bailey, you're recognized.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Mr. Bailey. Go ahead, Mr. Bailey.
Actually, the school systems are putting in water filtrations, all the water spigots. They've been taking them out and putting in the ones you put the bottle under where it's filtered water at every one of the locations. I think by the end of this year, they'll have just about all of them completely changed.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey.
All right.
Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Willie Campbell.
Yes.
Mark Blevins.
Yes.
Robert A. Cuff.
Yes.
Nancy Brown.
Yes.
Mike Hill.
Yes.
Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Bradley Johnson.
Yes.
Mark Tester.
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon.
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff.
Yes.
Jerry Prophet.
Yes.
Austin James.
Yes.
Ross Garland.
Yes.
Layla Ward.
Yes.
Ginger Holdren.
Yes.
Randall Jenkins.
Yes.
Gary Bailey.
Yes.
Travis Hill.
Yes.
Sandra Culler.
Yes.
Aaron Frazier.
Yes.
Robin McCamey.
Yes.
Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
All ayes.
Thank you. Next, I put into a form of a motion to approve and appropriate of $24,001, line item 101-4698-020 from the Governor's Support Grant to purchase a timekeeping system for the Sheriff's Department. Funds will be restricted to an account 54110709020.
Second, Aaron Fraser.
Motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Frazier. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Willie Campbell.
Yes.
Mark Blevins.
Yes.
Robert A. Cuff.
Yes.
Nancy Brown.
Yes.
Mike Hill.
Yes.
Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Bradley Johnson.
Yes.
Mark Tester.
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon.
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff.
Yes.
Jerry Prophet.
Yes.
Austin James.
Yes.
Ross Garland.
Yes.
Layla Ward.
Yes.
Ginger Holdren.
Yes.
Randall Jenkins.
Yeah.
Gary Bailey.
Yes.
Travis Hill.
Yes.
Sandra Culler.
Yes.
Aaron Frazier.
Yes.
Robin McCamey.
Yes.
Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
All ayes.
Thank you. Next, I put into a form of a motion to approve state grant, line item 46290-500 of $87,759 for inmate mental health transport cost. Line item 101-54-210-354-500.
Second, Aaron Fraser.
Motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Frazier. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Willie Campbell.
Yes.
Mark Blevins.
Yes.
Robert A. Cuff.
Yes.
Nancy Brown.
Yes.
Mike Hill.
Yes.
Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Bradley Johnson.
Yes.
Mark Tester.
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon.
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet.
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sonia Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
All ayes.
Thank you. Number 10, or next, we'll put in form of a motion to approve a CARES Act grant, line item 4730510 of $19,930 from the jail COVID response, line item 101-588-04-499-510 equals 1,540. And then 101-588-04-790-510, 18,390.
Second, Aaron Frazier.
Motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Frazier. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Willie Campbell.
Yes.
Mark Blevins.
Yes.
Robert A. Cup,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sonia Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
All ayes.
All right, next I put into a form of a motion to approve a CARES Act grant of $9,940 for local COVID response on item 101-588-04-499-511 for 180 and 101-588-04-790-511 for $9,760.
Second, Aaron Frazier.
Motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Frazier. Any discussion?
Yeah, question, what is that exactly, Mr. James?
Mr. Burke? Oh,
Yeah, Mr. Burke, if you don't care to elaborate on that.
That is if I remember correctly, it's to pay for PPE and COVID-related equipment used by the sheriff's department.
Okay, I'm just a little unclear because I'm just hearing the numbers basically of the line items. I don't know the actual topic of it, but that's fine. Thank you.
any further discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert A. Cup,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sonia Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
All ayes.
Thank you. Next, I put into a form of a motion to approve a CARES Act grant of $9,920 for local law enforcement COVID response. Line item 101-588-04-499-512, $85, and 101-588-04-790-512 of $9,835.
Second, Aaron Frazier.
Motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Frazier. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Willie Campbell.
Yes.
Mark Blevins.
Yes.
Robert Acuff.
Yes.
Nancy Brown.
Yes.
Mike Hill.
Yes.
Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Bradley Johnson.
Yes.
Mark Tester.
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon.
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff.
Yes.
Jerry Prophet.
Yes.
Austin James.
Yes.
Ross Garland.
Yes.
Layla Ward.
Yes.
Ginger Holdren.
Yes.
Randall Jenkins.
Yes.
Gary Bailey.
Yes.
Travis Hill.
Yes.
Sandra Culler.
Yes.
Aaron Frazier.
Yes.
Robin McCamey.
Yes.
Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
All ayes.
Thank you. Chairman, if I might, Commissioner Blevins has stepped out to the restroom and I need to myself. If we can take 5 minutes, and allow him to come back myself.
Yes, let's come back at 7:20. We'll recess till 7:20.
All right, thank you.
Please, everybody mute your mics. All right, by my clock, it's 7:20. We'll go ahead and reconvene this meeting. Mr. James, you now have the floor.
Chairman Hill, hold on just one second. We've got a couple outside. I'm gonna step outside and grab them.
Okay, thank you, Mr. James.
All right, Chairman Hill, we're ready to get back at it here.
Go ahead, Mr. James.
All right, so next I put into a form of a motion to appropriate, to approve an appropriations of $125,000 for paving at the HVHS, HVMS, and UHS. Work will be performed by the County Highway Department.
Second.
And this money is coming from, I believe it's the governor's grant money.
Motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Campbell, and this is to approve $125,000 for paving at Happy Valley High School, Happy Valley Middle School, and Unaka High School. Any discussion?
Can someone tell me how much is left in that governor's grant?
When we get to the end.
Well, how much do we have to start with?
I'm here to ride a Vesta Hill.
We started it with a little over 1.1 million, I believe.
That's my understanding. Okay.
Yeah, okay. He's ready now.
Any discussion? Mr. Bailey, did you have a question?
No, I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that that was going into the highways budget because they're going to be performing the work.
That is
Chairman?
correct.
Mr. Chairman?
Who am I?
Director
Is that
Burke.
Brad? Go ahead,
Brad,
Mr. Burke.
The revenue actually has to go into the school fund first and then be paid over from there to the highway fund because those costs will be capitalized for the school department. The cost has to show there.
Mr. Burke.
Yes.
Can we not just give it to the highway and let them do it and then the school pay the difference?
No, the issue is the cost will have to be capitalized in the capital asset records for the school department.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore it has to be paid from the school department over to the highway department, reimbursed.
Mr. Burke, this doesn't change any kind of maintenance of effort with the schools, does it?
No.
Okay.
And since it is a capital outlay, does this mean that we also have to pay to the city school system as well?
No. This is grant money.
Sounds good.
Any further questions? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert A. Cuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Gary Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes. Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yeah.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sonja Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
All ayes.
Thank you. Next is motion to appropriate $7,885 from the general fund unassigned fund balance for glass in the trustee's office.
Second, Aaron Fraser.
Motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Frazier to allocate $7,885 from the general fund for cubicles in the trustee's office. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert A. Cup,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Addie Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Gary Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sonja Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
All ayes.
Thank you. Next, I put into a form of a motion to appropriate $52,500 from the governor's support grant to provide funds to 7 volunteer fire departments in the county. Funds will be allocated to the volunteer fire departments based on the number of calls each has responded to.
Second, Nancy Brown.
I have a motion by Mr. James, second by Ms. Brown. Any discussion?
Chairman, I'd like to put a little more clarification on this, if I might, going back and reading the budget amendments, our budget minutes. With this, I brought this forward just thinking that during this time, we need to try to put some money to support our volunteer fire departments. We haven't really tried to help them any, and I'm sure their cost has went way up with PPE and everything in the nature, and their fundraising is quite down. I had reached out to Commissioner Holdren, because I know she sits on one of the volunteer fire department boards, kind of concerned is to get an input as how they were doing. And she told me that it wasn't as good a year as usual. And that's what kind of helped solidify the deal for me. And, and she had brought forth the idea, and I'd like to make sure that it's very clear that we would like to do this in the honor of Mayor Rusty Barnett, because we all know that that's where his heart lied, was in the fire departments. And I think this would be a great thing to have some sort of presentation or something when we give these funds to them. Maybe even possibly when we donate the office up around the lake to him. But that's all I have to say on that.
Mr. James, a point of discussion I would like to bring up. You mentioned you want to do this based on the number of calls. Do we want to do the calls that were run from January 1 of 2019 through the December 31, 2019? Or how do you want to do that? And I'll get those numbers from
I feel that would be in my opinion, that would be the best. We need to look at a year snapshot and go from there. That way we're not adjusting it on not enough months. I think a year is the best way to look at it, in my opinion.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask Mr. James if he'd take a amendment to that?
You're recognized, Mr. Bailey.
Mr. James, would you be willing to look at that and say, okay, they all get a minimum amount of, say, a certain amount, and then you break another portion per cause? In other words, basically everybody would know exactly something of what they're going to get. In other words,
what's the minimum amount you're thinking, Commissioner Bailey?
Somebody that runs a lot of calls will get more than somebody that don't. So would that be basically something as a minimum? Basically, everybody gets a certain amount, then you take the rest and do it per cause.
Would you say, Mr. Bailey, that you're looking like $5,000 per department, and then you split the other?
Yes, something like that,
based on the number of calls.
Who seconded that? Was that
Nancy Brown.
I did.
Nancy. Commissioner Brown, or would you be open to that amendment?
Yes, I would.
All right, I'd be open to that amendment also.
Commissioner James?
Yes, Commissioner Woodby, or Mayor.
Actually, Director Burke, let me ask him. Once we approve this, Brad, what is the time frame on getting the funds to where we can actually give those out? What is the time frame on that?
Each fire department would have to request those.
Okay.
As soon as they request them, it'll take a day or two to get the checks from them.
Because I would like to give that, I would like to do all this and I'll work on it in the same time frame as far as dedicating and having all the fire departments there to receive the funds and also dedicating the building up there in Little Milligan to Rusty. I think that would, if the commission thinks that's a good idea, we could do it all at one time. And I think that would just be great for Rusty.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. I was just trying to think of a time frame we're looking at. So we're thinking next month would be okay, Brad, or what are we looking at as far as?
If you want us to contact each fire department and get them to
Submit a request.
Submit a request for those funds, once it's determined how much each is going to get,
Okay.
I can do an allocation sheet on that. And once they submit their request for their funds, it'll just be a couple of days before we can have their check
Okay.
ready.
Would that be okay for your department to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Right.
Mr. Bailey or Mr. James, would you want to set the standard amount across the board for each department, and then that way we'll know how much is left for the divide between the calls?
How many do we have, Travis?
I believe there's seven volunteer fire departments.
Is that including Butler?
No.
Okay.
That is not include Butler.
So basically, then we would set 35,000 aside, and then the rest would be distributed per cause. Is that the way?
If that's the amount if you want to set $5,000 a piece aside, that's how it would work.
That's up to Mr. James. I'm just asking if he'd be willing.
Oh, I thought that we done accepted that amendment. Me and Ms. Brown was, I believe, on the same page with that.
Yep.
So we're good with that, Chairman, the motion setting aside 5,000 for each department, and then we'll next month in the Budget Committee bust up the rest based upon calls.
Okay, I have to ask because we did include in our normal budgets for the Elizabethton Fire Department and Butler Fire Departments. Do you want to include those?
Make an amendment on that.
I would be open if somebody wanted to include so much to each one, maybe not a huge amount, but I definitely would be open to some for the city fire department in the fact of that, since we're doing this in honor of Mayor Barnett, that's where he did retire from his services from.
About high for that.
You want to do, is that what you're suggesting? Yeah. Okay, I've got a friendly amendment from Mr. Blevins here for $2,500 to Butler and $2,500 to the City of Elizabethton Fire Department. Ms. Brown, do you take that amendment?
Yes, I will.
Question, is the Butler Fire Department in Carter or Johnson County?
It's in Johnson, but they serve some of Carter.
I thought we discussed that earlier about we were the first ones to respond to Johnson County fires, where Butler did not respond for some time afterwards. So I don't think they should be exempt from receiving that.
Now, wait a minute, Butler Steve. They didn't exist until Butler.
Point of order.
In Johnson County had no fire.
We have a point of order.
Point of order.
Mr. Chair, according to kind of how we've done things in the past, this drastically is changing the vote that was taken by the Budget Committee and is still being presented as a vote that the Budget Committee approved. While in the spirit, I understand and I appreciate what's going on, I do think that this is outside of, you're changing the motion to Budget Committee. It was already made and voted on.
Mr. Grindstaff, I think the broad call of the amount was what started, and I guess I took it upon myself to determine if we were going to include the other two fire departments that we funded originally in our budget. So if I'm out of order, then I'm out of order. I apologize.
Chairman, may I have the floor?
I don't necessarily say that you're out of order. I just think that, if we want to go back and do that, I think that's okay if another amendment or another vote was taken outside of what was approved inside Budget Committee.
Well, I'll tell you what, would everybody be all right if we remove all the amendments, approve the amount, and during budget next month, us as committee members take this on with the understanding of what the full commission would like to see?
Yes, I'm fine with that, sir.
Everybody else good?
ACUF First District. I don't know why we just don't send it back to the Budget Committee and let them work all of this out and bring it back to us.
Thank you, Dr. Acuff. Commissioner Hill, I think I seen your video pop up. Did you have something to?
Actually, I echoed the sentiment shared by Dr. Acuff just now.
Thank you. Mr. James.
Well,
would you accept those to table it?
Well, I mean, quite frankly, my motion's still the same, is to allocate this money, because that was what it was for the 7 volunteer fire departments, and we was going to disperse it in the budget committee anyways. So I feel we need to move on with that, and we'll decide in the budget committee how to disperse it. That was what we agreed upon when it come out.
Mr. James, I remember Butler Fire Department come back and made a statement because we didn't support it this time, that they would not answer any more calls into Carter County.
That's correct.
So I don't see, giving them any.
Okay.
So do you want to just go back to the original motion of 52.5 set aside, and we will go back to budget and discuss how it's distributed and to who?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's fine. Let's appropriate the money and we'll discuss in budget how to distribute it out.
I second that.
Commissioner Bailey, you will remove your friendly amendments.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Lee Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Kendra Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins, Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sonia Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
1 second, Chair. I need to step over here. Ms. Lewis is asking about the motion. Okay, we're ready. All right, so next is a motion to appropriate $402,898.48 from the general unassigned fund balance for a new baler for the recycling center. Equipment cost is $373,389.49, and installation cost is $29,500.
Chairman, I'd like to be recognized.
Mr. Hill, you are recognized.
I move at this time to table this issue until next month and send it back to the landfill committee to be brought out as a proper business proposal instead of a request for a gift to the landfill, the landfill department. I'm going to echo Mr. Bailey's comment earlier where he said, I want to know where the people's money is going before I vote. A $400,000 appropriation that comes out of committee with just basically the description of the item we plan on purchasing is not a proper business case for making that acquisition. That document needed to have a description of how installing this machine would increase efficiency so that we might begin handling plastics and aluminum cans and other things down there that they just can't get to right now. It would involve projections on efficiencies and window of recovery of the people's money and how long that might take. Now, I'm going to tell you where you guys can find that information because I watched your landfill committee meeting back on the YouTube, and there was a bunch of discussion about pulling things off for the landfill, and really a $400,000 acquisition is not pulling something off. In county government, we don't pull things off. We prepare a proper business case and make a proper request. Now, Mr. Tester, I got to commend him. I sent a request around to see if there might have been a business case left out of the packet yesterday as I was preparing for this meeting. And he was the only one on the committee to call me. He went and did some hard work down there, and he's got all this information. He shared it with me. If it was presented properly, you might get a yes from me next month. But this month, if you call the roll on this thing, it'll be a no from me because this is just not good work. The homework needs to be finished. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman,
Thank you, Ms. Sheriff. Ms. Culler, you're recognized.
I'd like to second the motion. You didn't get a second, I don't think.
Thank you, Ms.
You're
Culler.
seconding Mr. Dean's initial motion.
Chairman Hill.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Collins.
Mr. Hill, Mr. Mike Hill, who did you get in contact with? Did you email the people on that committee? Did you call them? Because I didn't receive anything from you.
I didn't either.
Correct. I emailed Chairman Travis Hill and Chairman Gary Bailey from the Solid Waste Committee with my request. It is date and time stamped.
Mr. Hill, I've told everybody I received mine on my Gmail. I've never set up my county email. But anyhow, I will respond back to you. I've been down there and looked at the bales and what Benny is producing. And, you know, it's like Mark Tester looking at this. Here's the thing. When budget comes around every year, every one of us sits there with Benny and says, Benny, you need to do better. Benny, you're not producing enough. Benny, the landfill ain't making it. The landfill can't make it. He has a 1950-something baler that only produces 8 bales a day. He can't make no more. He's doing all he can. I mean, we could take more cardboard, but we can't get rid of it. We have no way to bale it. We could take plastic, but he can't get rid of it. He has no way to bale it. We can take aluminum. He can't get rid of it. We have no way to bale it. Mr. Hilbert, Danny Hilbert from the city, they would put out more dumpsters. But where do they take the cardboard? I mean, this is a win-win for the landfill because if we buy the baler, he is producing the cardboard. It is bringing in more money. And the thing is, if we don't buy it, it's going to the landfill, which is costing us more money. So, I mean, we got to look at this, what we're gaining to what we're losing.
Mr. Bailey, you're practically written the position paper I'm describing right here on the Zoom. So why don't you commit that to writing and bring it back next month and we'll consider it then.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Blevins, you're recognized.
Okay, if we purchase this new baler to bale the cardboard, then they could use the old baler that they've got to bale the plastic, the aluminum, and you're making money by doing this. It's a no-win situation. But I like, you know, I think it's greatly needed.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Von Cannon, you're recognized.
I haven't changed my mind, but I have a new set of figures. It's not that the baler isn't needed because the other ones are worn out. And that's a fact because I know when it was bought because I was involved in it. The other thing is though.
Well, hell, it's older than Moses.
The speed of this new baler will bale the 60 tons because I've approached it from the backside. I started out with the bale weights. And you guys have started with speed. I started backwards, as usual. But here's what I found. That you can bale the 60 tons, assuming you're always going to get 60 tons. And that's another assumption because we don't know what we're getting from Johnson County. We don't know what we're getting from Irwin or Univoy County. We don't know what we're getting from the city. Right now, we're probably not getting anything, but here's the thing. If we use 60 tons, and I think that's a very overinflated number based on, you got to go back 3 years ago or 4 years ago before these other people started adding on. That gives you the true figure. In 5 days. 5 days you could bale the 60 tons. That was 5 working days a month. You could then apply 4 days, Benny, to mixed paper. Then you could use as the old baler for plastic and aluminum. And that still gives you probably 11 days with nothing to do with the new baler. Now, if you can convince me that those 3 sources of Johnson County, Unicoi County, and the city will make more than 60 tons, then you've got a winner. Otherwise, you've got a loser for a few years. But cardboard is going to increase. Because the Chinese economy, if you've been watching that, it has rebounded on the container ships to the United States, and they don't ship it in plastic bags. They ship it in cardboard. Therefore, if you could convince Walmart, for example, or if you could convince Tractor Supply, but Walmart's the one you need to convince. They need to come out of baling. And that would make everybody well. But right now, if you buy the new baler, you've got excess capacity at the moment. Now, but then again, it takes money to make money, and you've got to look at the future, and the future is not declining, the future is growth.
Mr. Chairman, if I can.
So I've made up my mind.
Mr. Bailey, you're recognized.
Based on growth and not being optimistic. And if Benny, if you could get a contract with Unicoi County and Johnson County and the city to where they won't leave you for some reason for 36 months or maybe 48 months. The payback period on this thing ought to be, Mark, based on 60 tons, the payback period still should be, what, 30 months?
About 40.
Commissioner Hill.
How many
Mr.
months?
Tester, you're recognized.
But the payback period is, if you can pay for it in 7 years, that's the industrial standard. If you can pay for anything in 7 years, buy it.
Mr. Tester, you're recognized.
Why he couldn't pay for it in 7 years? So my answer is changed.
Mr. Hill.
Go ahead, Mr. Tester.
In doing due diligence for the county's money, I spent the last week or week and a half on this. I went so far as to go down and count the amount of cardboard that came in, averaged the bales, saw what was coming in. And now that does not include the city dumpsters that have not been process used at Pine Ridge, Mill Street, and Lyons Field at an average cost of 60 tons of cardboard per week. And I didn't use the high number that it's bringing now, and I didn't use the low number. I averaged it at $42.50 per ton. That should give you about $2,550 per week on just cardboard at $10,200 per month in cardboard only. Okay. That does not include any more cardboard you can take. Doing the man hours on it, you should be able to process your cardboard somewhere between 2.5 to 3 days a week. Because I talked to Lynn Richardson at the City of Johnson City Recycling Center, which purchased a baler last year. They they produce 30 they average 30 bales per day on an average of 1,500 pounds per bale. That means they're producing somewhere around 22.5 tons per day. My question was, could we substantially pay for it with the amount of product that we are averaging? Well, Mr. Lyons, Benny cannot make more money than he's making right now without the equipment. That's bottom line, because he cannot bale his mixed paper, which is bringing, right now, mixed paper is bringing $40 a ton. And we're not being able to bale any of that. So that's going to get you another revenue stream.
Correct.
But long
4 days.
Long story short is, you should be able to pay for this piece of equipment in approximately 40 months. Okay, now I did not count the revenue from the mixed paper, the aluminum, the plastic, or the tin cans. That would be on top of that. Now that's assuming that the price of cardboard resumes to be a medium at $42.50 per ton. This baler should pay for itself in around 40 months. But let me add one more thing. If you get this baler and you have to produce, I mean, there's no excuses. There's no, I can't do this or I can't do that. You need assurances that you're going to bale this thing, because you can run this new baler, so Mr. Lyons has told me, as well as the old baler at the same time with no more employees. That being said, excuse me?
No, that you could, but with no additional funding.
No more employees.
You know, but let's say
Mr. Von Cannon, Mr. Von Cannon, Mr. Tester has the floor, please. Mr. Von Cannon, Mr. Tester has the floor.
I'm just going on what Mr. Lyons told me, that he could run with the way this feeder, with the conveyor on this new baler. Mr. Von Cannon, you may know more about this than I do, because I surely.
I had 7 years with it, so I guess I should know a bit. But Mark, you're right on target with the amount of days that you would use the baler, and you'd still have the other one free to do plastic or aluminum. Whether you use it, whether you can run it with one person or not is immaterial. You can't, but let's say you could. And you've still got extra days. And that's why you need some assurance from these outside sources that they're not going to cut you off. If they do, you're dead meat.
But Chairman Hill, Commissioner James, is Director Lyons, are you on the line?
Yes, sir.
All right, I've got a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
What about Mark finishing what he was talking out there?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Tester.
Well, from what I've looked, and I also checked on the electrical panels and the amount of power that it will take to add this additional baler. When you go to rewiring a 3-phase service and adding additional power to a building, you're talking about thousands of dollars. So that being said, Mr. Lyons has assured me that the power is there to supply this, to be able, so we will not have to rewire the service on the building. So that should be covered. And he has an installation cost in this package also. So that's basically all I have. So thank you very much.
Mark, excellent piece of work, because you went on from one direction, I went from another, and our numbers aren't off.
Good deal. All right, Chairman Hill, I want to ask the director some couple questions. Director Lyons, so I just want to go back. So this is not going to require any additional employees to run these balers, correct?
Oh, sir, and let me explain this to you. The way this baler works, it is computer operated.
Right.
It auto ties the bales as it makes them. The operator that runs the Bobcat, all he's going to do is load. He's going to load both balers, and the guy that's running the old baler now, he will continue running that baler. The only thing you have to do to this new baler is have someone on a forklift to move the bales as it spits them out.
Okay. Next question is, what's the anticipated that you believe we're going to bring in in tonnage?
Well, like Mr. Von Cannon and Mr. Tester was saying, you're talking the neighborhood of 60 tons. Now, this 60 tons don't all come in on Monday. It may come in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Right.
Therefore, you have cardboard every day of the week that you have to deal with.
You'd have to double that in order to keep the baler busy, though.
All right.
Mr. Chairman?
I've got one more question left. Benny, when are we going to be able to start picking up the cities? Because I think Mr. Hilbert has left the dumpsters out due to the virus. So is there any anticipation as when he's going to get that open back up?
He has, and me and Mr. Hilbert has met, and we have re-signaged the containers. This has been the process, and they were expected to open November 1st.
Okay. Is that included in the estimated 60 tons a week, or is that over that?
No, that is not.
Okay.
That's extra.
That's extra.
And once we open, I'm really not sure where we're going to put the product that's coming from these city dumpsters, because right now the only thing we have room to deal with is cardboard. And it's not get a big enough building or anything. It's just we've started taking on cardboard from Waste Management, and they service Bristol, Tennessee. They service a lot of you big factories that has compactors. So they bring all that to us now.
Benny, the only thing that looks negative would be space, because we're running that kind of volume through there. And you can't stack it so high because of the fire department. You could stack on the yard, and you need a tarp though, and I tell you why. When they buy cardboard, it will pick up naturally about 11% moisture. If they ever did a check on you about the moisture content of a bale that had been stored outside, they likely would give you some problems with with payment per pound or per bale. Space is the next issue.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
But you can handle that with outside storage.
Ms. Woodby, you're recognized.
Thank you. I've just got just a question for Benny.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have a contract of any sort with Unicoi County or Johnson County or Waste Management that guarantees us their services for so many years, or that we know we will continue receiving those services?
We do not. Waste Management brings us theirs for free, absolutely free. We don't give them nothing. They don't give us nothing except for the cardboard. And Waste Management actually services Unicoi County as their recycler, so they bring theirs within the rest of the stuff they bring. We actually go get Johnson County's.
Okay.
And I think Johnson County said they would be willing when we first started, if we needed to do something like that to guarantee we get the cardboard, they was willing to do that with us. The city of Elizabethton, all the sites in town belong to the city of Elizabethton. They got them through a grant to work directly with us. And we also do the city of Watauga.
Director Lyons, is there a way that you think we can get in agreements with a contract or something with Waste Management so we don't worry about them pulling out on us and going to the city of Johnson City?
You need that.
That's what I'm getting at. I wonder about getting into a contract so we can secure them for so many years on that revenue.
For a period of time too. 2 years,
check
3
into
years.
that. Don't care a bit to check into that. But whether we do a contract or not, this baler is eventually going to fail. And as of right now, we don't have a backup except for the little baler I've got over there that we hand load. So we have no means of backup right now in case anything goes down.
Mr. Lyons, I have a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
All right. So first question is there going to be, is the landfill committee going to set a minimum price at which they will not sell that they'll hold on to the cardboard if we have the storage space?
We can't do that, Travis, because what happens with these meals is, and that's the reason I use 4 or 5 different ones, is for the simple reason, if one can't take it, then I call the next one and they will take it, even if they're $5 lower than the other. And that way we keep it continuously moving, because we don't have the storage to set. Even in the old building, we didn't have the storage to set on no more than about 4 loads. And that's roughly 120, 130 bales.
Vinny, let me ask you a question about storage. Sometimes you could get a company to send in an empty trailer if you got a way to move it around, and you could load that trailer and then they pick it up a week later or whatever. That's getting to be a big deal as to having the people that buy set you an empty to where you could have several empties around for your, and that would cut down on your storage possibility.
Mr. Chairman.
Hold on, Mr. Bailey. I've still got some more questions, please. Second question is that, Benny, if we do buy this baler, can you put some more dumpsters out down at the recycling center on Saturdays for people to offload? Because I know a lot of people clean out garages and stuff on Saturdays or after hours, and they can't get down after 5 o'clock.
As of right now, we don't have no dumpsters. We've got a couple that has to go back out once we get through the COVID deal. But we've got every dumpster that I've bought, and most of all the dumpsters we bought for the landfill has came through a state grant.
How much does a cardboard dumpster cost, Benny?
They're the regular 8-yard cardboard dumpsters are right around $950.
Okay. And last question, do you know what your profit margin is on a cost to bale right now compared to what it will be with a new baler? Compared to what it costs us to bale one compared to what we sell it for?
Travis, I don't.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bailey, go ahead with your next question.
Guys, this comes down to 2 things. One, it comes down to whether we haul the cardboard to the landfill and we pay to get rid of it, or we give him a chance to make money with it. You know, it's like Von Cannon said, well, he needs a trailer to store it. Well, hell, if you don't give him a baler, he ain't got no reason to store it. I mean,
need a trailer.
Let's just face the truth here. You know, we're all wanting him to produce with nothing to produce with. I mean, it comes down to, this is one-time money. We've all argued that we want him to produce more. He has nothing to produce more with. So I say we bite the bullet, we give him what he wants, and then Benny, you need to produce. And that's the way it is. So, I mean, we can't ask him to go take on more cardboard, because if he takes it on, what's he do with it right now? Haul it out in the yard? Throw it in the dumpster? Send it back to the landfill?
Chairman.
I mean, we want him to get rid of plastic. What's he bale it with? We want him to get rid of all of the stuff. So, I mean, he can probably go get more, but he's got to be able to get rid of it once he gets it. So it comes down, I say we put it on the floor, we buy him this baler, and we start making money and go forward like every other county. The reason Johnson City has one is because we couldn't bale it. Esther, am I correct? They just bought their baler a year and a half ago or last year.
I think Johnson City purchased theirs last year.
Because nobody else was bailing it.
Do we know how much they paid for theirs?
21st century, we got to buy stuff.
Well, Chairman Hill, can I speak?
Miss Woodby, you have the floor.
I'm just going to make a statement. This is one-time monies to purchase a piece of machinery that will profit the county. If we don't use the monies now, we're going to be asking the taxpayers to pay for it. So that's my take on it. So I think that the monies need to be used for the one-time purchase, so we do not end up having to ask the taxpayers for it, because eventually Benny's gonna need it.
Mr. Chairman, can I say something, Benny Lyons?
Mr. Lyons, you're recognized.
Speaking of producing, you know, since I took over at the recycle center, we've actually placed dumpsters in every city and county school system, cardboard and mixed papers. Some of them actually has plastic dumpsters. When I first started operating the recycle center, we had one guy that would go out and pick up what little bit of cardboard that we took in, and he would also bale it. At this point in time, we actually have 2 full-time people and a part-time person and a full-time truck driver hauling this material in there. So material is actually coming in way more than it has ever came in down there.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Mr. Blevins.
I have 2 other questions and I'm done.
Motion to cease discussion.
Not accepted.
I have a motion to stop discussion. Who seconded that?
I second Profit.
Second by Mr. Profit. Madam Clerk, call the roll to cease discussion.
Yes.
Mark Blevins.
Yes.
Robert A. Cup.
Yes.
Nancy Brown. Nancy Brown.
Wake up, Nancy.
Mike Hill.
Yes.
Yes.
Mike Hill.
Sure.
Patty Woodby.
All right, yes.
Bradley Johnson.
Yes.
Mark Tester.
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon.
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff.
Yes.
Jerry Prophet.
Yes.
Austin James.
Yes.
Ross Garland.
Yes.
Layla Ward.
Yes.
Ginger Holdren.
Yes.
Randall Jenkins.
Yes.
Gary Bailey.
Yes.
Travis Hill.
Yes.
Sandra Culler.
Yes.
Aaron Frazier.
Yes.
Robin McCamey.
Yes.
Kelly Collins.
Yes.
All ayes.
Yes.
Okay, I need to ask because I try to keep up with the tallies here. I only got a motion from Mr. James. Who was the second on that?
That was
I second.
Sandra Keller.
Sandra.
Thank you. All right.
Mr.
So,
Chairman, can I say something, please?
yes, Mr. Blinds.
Listen, guys, you have made my night, and I greatly appreciate you.
Done nothing.
We're not done yet.
We haven't proved it yet, Benny. This
Well,
is
I
just
appreciate
facts.
you doing whatever you've done there. So,
I call a hot dog.
Thanks, Benny. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
And this is to purchase it.
Hey, where's that money coming from again before we get going?
General fund, unassigned fund balance.
Just making sure.
Chairman, this is the motion to table until next month when a proper business.
No, sir, you didn't receive a second. This is the previous motion to a purchase.
I believe Ms. Kohler seconded my motion, sir.
Ms. Culler, did you second Mr. Hills or Mr. James?
No, I did not. I second Mr. James.
My mistake.
Mr. James, you will not accept Mr. Hill's friendly amendment to table it.
I'm afraid let's vote on it and see where it lies.
Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Willie Campbell.
Restate the motion.
The motion is to appropriate $402,889.48 from the general fund unassigned fund balance for a new baler for the recycling center.
I'm like Patty, give him a shot. Yes.
Time for a friendly amendment.
Okay, Mark Blevins.
Yes.
Robert A. Cup.
Yes.
What about the unfriendly?
Nancy Brown.
Yes.
Mike Hill.
No.
Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Bradley Johnson.
Yes.
Mark Tester.
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon.
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff.
No.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
16.
Sonja Color,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
2 nays and the rest.
Rest
Yes.
Jay's motion passes. Director Lyons,
Now you congratulate me.
Now I can say thank you. Thank y'all again. I appreciate it.
Might I add
Benny,
to that,
don't
though,
let us down,
Director
brother.
Lyons? We have put faith in you, and we expect you to show us what you can do by next budget time.
Now we need a contract with each of those.
Yeah, if you'd like to work on that too, that'd be great.
I will work on that because I'd like to have the assurance myself.
All right, next we put in form of a motion to approve General Fund 101, Budget Amendment number 4, for a total of $29,715.86, with $10,774 coming from restricted fund balance and nothing from unassigned fund balance.
Second, Aaron Frazier.
Motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Frazier. Any discussion?
What was this on then?
This was on the General Fund 101. Yeah.
Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Now. The budget amendments now.
On the chair.
Billy Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sonja Color,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion passes. Next, I put in form of a motion to approve General Purpose School Fund number 141, Amendment number 3, for a total of $334,304.17, with $10,000 coming from assigned fund balance and nothing from unassigned fund balance.
Second the motion, Mark Blevins, First District.
Motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Blevins. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Billy Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sonja Color,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
All ayes.
All right, thank you. Next, we put in a form of a motion to approve General Purpose School Fund 141, Amendment 3A, for a total of $80,800 with nothing coming from fund balance.
Second.
Second by Mark Blevins.
Motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Blevins. Any discussion?
It's CARES money.
Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Billy Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren, Randall Jenkins, Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Sonia Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
all ayes.
Motion passes. Next, I put into a form of a motion to approve school federal projects Fund 142, Amendment 3, for a total of $478,413.66 with nothing coming from fund balance.
Motion to approve. Bart Blevins.
We have a motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Blevins. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Willie Campbell.
Yes.
Mark Blevins.
Yes.
Robert A. Cuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins, Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yeah.
Sandra Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
all ayes.
Motion passes. All right, next I put into a form of a motion to approve Head Start Fund number 145, Amendment number 2, for a total of $51,187 with nothing coming from fund balance.
Yeah, second. That's what this is right here.
Motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Von Cannon. Any discussion? Madam Clerk.
Sorry, Mr. Hill, I apologize.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is this in, Mr. Burke, is this still in relation to the issues that they were having with fiscal year versus calendar year appropriation?
No, it is not.
That's all I had.
Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert A. Cuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sandra Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet, all ayes.
Yes.
Motion pass. Next, I'll put into a form of a motion to approve the following donations: Animal Shelter, $970, Sheriff's Department, $2,500, School Department, $3,850.
Motion to approve, Aaron Frazier.
I have a motion by Mr. James, second by Mr. Frazier. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert A. Cuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sandra Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet, all ayes.
Yes.
All right, motion passed. Next, to put into a form of a motion to approve the non-monetary donations from Walmart made to the animal shelter in the approximate amount of $665.02.
Second, Aaron Fraser.
Sandra Keller.
Thanks, Sandra.
Have a motion by Austin James, second by Ms. Culler. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Yes.
Willie Campbell, Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert A. Cuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Thomas Hill,
Yes.
Sandra Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Fraser,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
All ayes.
All right, motion passes. That's all budget has.
That's enough.
Ain't that the truth?
Back to the
We'll move on to nominating. Chairman Frazier, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman Hill. We had a vacancy come up on the Records Committee. We received an application from Ms. Ginger Holdren, and she was approved unanimously. I put it in the form of a motion to approve Commissioner Holden to fill the vacancy on the Records Committee.
Second.
I'll second that. Nancy Brown.
Have a motion by Mr. Frazier, second by Ms. Brown for Ms. Ginger Holdren. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert A. Cuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yes.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sandra Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Fraser,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet. All ayes.
Yes.
Congratulations, Ms. Holder.
Thank you.
Chairman Frazier, do you have anything else?
Nothing further, sir. That's all we had at this time. And anything further, the minutes will stand for themselves for the nominating committee.
Thank you, Chairman Frazier. We'll move on to financial management. Chairwoman Holdren, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman Hill. It was brought to financial management a few months back to look into the possibility of beginning an ethics committee and an investigative committee. It is the financial management committee's decision to bring no motion on that. And if anybody would like clarification, I will ask our attorney, Josh Harden, to explain why we came to that decision, if anybody wants him to.
I would want him to, because several years ago, I was the investigative committee. I had my first investigation, and the next thing I know is they decided they didn't want any more investigation committees. Because I was ready to lower the boom.
Okay, Attorney Harden.
Yes, ma'am. I wasn't at the last meeting, but I think I was there when you talked about this, either one or two before the last. And essentially, no one on the commission really has any authority to move forward with anything. The only thing an ethics committee has the authority to investigate essentially is financial conflicts. But anything other than that, either is referred to me or the district attorney or both for any kind of follow-up. And I'm certainly not trying to shuck any responsibility or to try to hog up any power of any kind. I'm happy to investigate anything that anybody refers to me in writing or any kind of official complaint. But essentially, it would just be an exercise in futility, as there's no real action that can be taken by that committee.
That's exactly what was decided before, was that they had enough law enforcement, et cetera, investigative ability to handle anything. And they didn't need to stir the mud in the commission.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions on that? Thank you, Attorney Harden. The only other thing I will mention is that financial management is taking on the task at looking at all governmental policies in the county. And we voted at our last meeting that the first set of policies to be looked at is going to be capital assets. Second, we will look at budget policy. If anyone has any recommendations, questions, concerns on either of those two topics, please reach out to someone on financial management. Thank you.
Chairman Holdren, I do have a question. Where are we at on the salary study?
It has not begun yet, Commissioner Frazier, because they want to conduct everything in person, and we're still not really allowing that at this time. We did discuss that at our last meeting, if we wanted them to move forward electronically, but they do not accept that responsibility. In that case, they would put the work off on our finance department. We feel like they are already stretched thin, so we did not want to task Mr. Burke or any of his officers in there with conducting the surveys, which is the first step. So nothing has been done on that at this time, primarily due to COVID.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anything else?
Are you asking for suggestions, Ginger?
No.
Not at this time, sir. I would like for those comments to be sent through email or something like that to someone on financial management. If you have something specific to say, please show up at the meetings.
The reason I ask is that the forte of spending money is easy. The forte of saving money is not it. The third floor of the jail, I keep saying that and have for years, needs studied to see if we can accept federal prisoners and make it pay for itself, because it's sitting there empty. And that would be a good money-saving situation for somebody to study. And to give you a grip of who should study it, we pay several $1,000s a year to be a member of CTAS. They have a man on board that is a former jail designer. If anybody knows, he should know.
I think they're gonna put that on the COVID's overcharge.
Well, I don't know what committee ought to study it, but it seems like financial management would be a good place to start.
Yeah. It should have been studied back when it's supposed to been finished.
Yep.
It never was finished. We drug.
Well, they started it.
Drag his legs on it and let him do it himself. It's hanging in there like a spook house right now. Make a good haunted house. Oh yeah, it's terrible shape in there. If you've been in there and seen it.
And there's another wing that's not even being used.
It's just, you can't use it. It needs to be fixed.
If you complete that floor, you're gonna need extra manpower.
Yeah.
Take care of it.
I say we defer that to the Building and Grounds Committee.
I say.
Something else that may address your all's concerns is that it was brought up in financial management this past month to look at the formation of an investment committee Commissioner Travis Hill brought that up, and it will be on financial management's agenda for November. If anybody would like to come and weigh in on that possibility.
Ginger, I'd like to give you the name of a man because I've got a letter from him. Asked the question about forming of investment committee. His name is David Lillard, and he's the man that does the finance work for the state of Tennessee. And as you and I both know, that's a very strong investment. Our state is in good shape as far as investment. So David Lillard is the man. I could give you his phone number and whatever. I've got it on a letter somewhere. I did think that would be a good thing to study.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Von Cannon. I will get that from you soon, sir. Thank you. That's it for financial management.
Thank you, Chairwoman Holdren. We'll now move on to Building and Grounds. Chairman Grindstaff, you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. If you will, please just let the minutes reflect everything. We've got some stuff that's going to come up probably within the next month or so. That's going to be pretty important. I'm still trying to get my feet up and under me. And if Austin has anything he'd like to add as the outgoing chairman, he's more than welcome to.
Nope, I'd just like to say I think it's in great hands. Commissioner Grindstaff, he'll do a terrific job.
Thank you, Chairman Grindstaff. Let's move on to law enforcement. Chairman Hill, you're recognized.
We met for the express purpose of appointing officers, and unfortunately or fortunately, the committee saddled me with the chairmanship again, and they, saddled Commissioner Johnson with being vice chair. We'll be meeting as things are needing to be brought to the commission from law enforcement if they ever call us about anything. That's all the report I got. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chairman Hill. Next, we'll move on to Health and Welfare. Chairman Acuff, if you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. We've been continuing our quest for broadband access in the county. This past week, we interviewed Trilight, a corporation out of Cookville. I think we're ready to probably put together a scope of work and ask how each of these two companies, Trilight and Ridgeline out of North Carolina, would best address our needs here in Carter County. I can tell you, for those of you who have kept up with the minutes of the committee, we know that now where all of the fiber-based runs are in the county, those were provided to us by ENA, and it might come as a surprise to some of you that Ridgeline has a fairly large fiber trunk that comes out of North Carolina, goes through Roan Mountain, through Hampton, through Elizabethton, and over to Johnson City. So it would appear, and certainly the committee hasn't acted on this yet, it would appear since Trilight does not have any fiber in the county, they would have to lay it. I think our best bet or our best partner may be Ridgeline, which is a part of Blue Ridge Energy. We've reached out to Dr. McAbee, Superintendent of Schools, asking him to help us with the survey materials that we're going to need to go to all families in Carter County schools to talk about, do they have access? What is the speed of that access? Would they take advantage of it if it came through their neighborhood? Because there is an incentive there with every house that is passed or is by the fiber access, it provides the company with a $500 upfront fee because they become potential customers. So hopefully we'll have this issue for the commission in November. I feel very confident, and I think we're very close to finishing this piece of work up, and then the grants will lay before us. So with that, Chairman, and with the minutes of health and welfare, I would say that that is where we are at this point. But I did want to thank each of you for approving the resolution for Mayor Barnett tonight, and also for a set-aside fund, a designated line for the Homeless Task Force Committee. So I thank you, sir, and return the floor to you.
Thank you, Chairman Acuff. We'll move on to, let's see here. Let's move on to rules and bylaws. Chairman Jenkins, you're recognized.
Nothing to report tonight, sir.
Thank you, Chairman Jenkins. Next, we'll do landfill. Chairman Bailey, you're recognized.
I'd like to thank all of you all for the vote of confidence in this. Guys, I really believe we can get this going forward. Benny's really put a lot of work into it lately. For years, there's been some, I guess, people just asking him to do more. I can let you know that I went down there. I do believe he's really deep down in my heart, believe he's trying to produce and bring it up to the standards that we're wanting him to do. I'd like to thank Ms. Kohler for working with me and getting this going at first right here. And to everybody on the committee, I appreciate all of you. Other than that, really, there's nothing to report.
Thank you, Chairman Bailey. Let's move on to education. Chairwoman Ward.
We'll just allow our minutes to reflect our meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairwoman Ward. Next, we'll go to, let's see, highway. Chairman Blevins, you're recognized.
Yes, let the minutes reflect for themselves.
Thank you, Chairman Blevins.
Thank you.
Next, let's see here. Planning Department, Director Schuler, do you have anything for us?
Well, if I can get this thing unmuted, I apologize. Yes, not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, we will have a planning commission meeting. We will do social distancing in the courtroom, in the meeting room, so as that we can have a planning commission and take care of a few matters.
Thank you, Director Schuler.
Thank you, sir.
Beer Board, Chairman Mike Hill. I'm sorry, I should have got you earlier on this. You're recognized.
We have had no requests since Captain Jack's, I think.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman Hill. Animal Shelter. I'm not sure who gives that report typically.
Chairman Hill, Acuff, First District. I'll be happy to step up if that is okay.
Yes, sir. You have the floor.
Thank you, sir. I think we're very excited. We'll have some expansion and renovation going on at the animal shelter. We've got Lowe's, who is donating the material, and we've got a fairly large chunk of money that has been given to the Friends of the Animal Shelter, which will pay for that renovation, and we'll be able to have our dog runs in the back enclosed. So it's going to be a much better situation going forward. Coming up, we have proposed on the date of the 29th of October 2020 at 6 p.m. in the courtroom, so that we can socially distance, an opportunity to talk about animal control. As many of you know, that has been an ongoing issue for the last more than a year, and because of the fact that the Sheriff's Department is shorthanded in a number of instances, many times we don't have access to an animal care officer. And obviously we have not been able to, nor are we capable at this point in time, to take that up as an animal shelter responsibility. So we wanted to have a sit down talk. We've asked Sheriff Lunsford and City Police Chief Shaw, as well as Mayor Woodby, Captain Trivet, and Attorney Harden. And we've also asked representatives from the city, including Attorney Day, to be present so we can talk about animal control and hopefully at some point put this behind us. It is an issue. We've had several attacks by dogs who have either gotten out of their pens or are running loose and have attacked individuals. So that does put us at a liable position as far as the county is concerned. So we want to make sure that we get this problem solved. And likewise, the Animal Shelter Board has been insistent that Director Posada and her staff are not going out at 1 and to 2 or 3 in the morning. We also feel that that is an issue that which could become litigation that we don't want to face as a county. I know that Director Posada was on here a few minutes ago. I don't know if she still is, but if she wants to add something, Shannon, I'll defer to you.
Good afternoon.
Okay, go ahead. I didn't see you.
Due to, like Dr. Akes said, there's some issues, with the staffing at the Sheriff's Department. That's putting people calling the animal shelter and my front desk stacked all the time because they assume that we're animal control, and then they'll call and tell us to come and get the dogs. And, it's just becoming an issue at this point. And all we want to do is just find a solution. We're not into attacking no one. We just want to get a solution and move forward with animal control so that we can eliminate future problems. With that being said, we will be discussing some of the draft that Mr. Harden had gave us before. We had talked to some of the committees about that going forward, but we'll discuss all this on the 29th of October at 6 p.m. in the courthouse. So we hope to get a resolution. We hope to get everything resolved and move forward. We work with the Sheriff's Department well. We understand that they're understaffed, but still we have an issue that needs resolved.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question real quick?
Mr. Bailey, you're recognized.
This might go to Ms. Posada or to Mr. Acuff or somebody on that board. So you're telling me we don't have an animal control officer at all?
Mm-hmm. So what I will say is I don't know when we don't have an animal control officer until people starts calling the animal shelter telling us to come and get the animals, and therefore I don't have the staff to go pick up animals.
Well, what I'm concerned about is seeing our animal control truck go down the road if they're not going to work for you.
Okay, so I'm not over them, but what I can tell you is there is times that I know that these corrections officers has to be pulled to work an extra shift at the Sheriff's Department. It's what I've been told, because that they're having some staffing issues there. I have spoke to Mr. Lunsford over some of the issues that we had coming in. I don't know when we have an animal control officer until that my phone starts going off, and then I realize, oh, there's no animal control officer. We have been asked to go out on special occasions. So we go when we can, but we're not always able to go right at that moment, or we're short staffed as we are. We're limited staff to run the shelter. So I wish I had a great answer for you, Mr. Bailey, and I wished I could tell you that they was, on this time or that time. But honestly, I don't know when there is an officer from a Sheriff's Department and when there's not.
My understanding, though, when we was doing budget, we approved, he stood up in front of us and said he would do it for one more year, and it was about $50,000, and he said he would do it this year. But my point is, if he's not doing it and you've not had one, where's the $50,000?
Sir, I can't answer that question.
I can.
I was
Chairman
getting ready
Burke.
to defer to you, Brad Burke.
Mr. Burke.
Those funds aren't in a specific line item within the jail budget. They are not spent unless someone actually works and we get a timesheet for the animal control work. And there have been no funds spent in,
Mr. Burke, I
maybe
think
a
it was
month.
between September 1 through September 14th was the last payroll.
Right.
No funds spent since September 14th.
I work 50,000 a year.
I need somebody to got some sandwich. I need somebody to got some
That's
sandwich.
all I had, sir. Ma'am, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Ms. Posada, do you have anything else for us?
No, sir, not unless someone has a question.
Need animal control.
Any more questions for Ms. Posada? Thank you, Ms. Posada.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Acuff, do you have anything else for animal shelter?
No, sir, that's it. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to the Chamber of Commerce, Chairman or Commissioner Garland.
I don't have any report, and Keep Carter County Beautiful will go there. I think we meet this Thursday virtually about 5:30. That's really all I've got on those two.
Thank you, Mr. Garland. And I'll touch on ag. I think we have a meeting in November, but I think they've been sending us a flyer that you get every month. But I believe we passed in the budget the $80,800 was a CARES Act for the meat cutting program. Is that right, Mr. Burke?
That's correct.
All right. Thank you. And I have no further. Did I miss any committees?
Not really a committee, but I'm on the Main Street Committee for Downtown. And well, met with those guys for the first time. They've got a lot of great projects that they're working on and different things that they're trying to pull off. They're definitely focused on getting downtown renovated and updated. They're focusing on picking up some grants and some other things. So hopefully in the next couple of months, we'll have some really cool stuff to report on.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier. I think that'll do it for committee reports. We'll now move on to county attorney report. Attorney Harden.
Yes, sir. Briefly, as far as litigation goes, I will say I was notified that we've settled the Steffi v. Carter County. That was a case filed in circuit court involving a motorcycle accident and some road work that was going on. And we settled that within insurance limits, so no additional cost to the county. I filed 2 new litter violation cases this month, and that brings us a total of 9 of those that are active right now in Chancery Court. Other than that, the typical research and work I normally do will be in my report that'll be part of the minutes.
Thank you, Attorney Harden. Any questions for Attorney Harden? Okay, we'll move on to commissioner comments. The floor is open for any commissioners who would like to speak.
Commissioner Hill, Austin James.
James, you're recognized.
I'd like to touch in a little bit on some of the upcoming stuff for next month. Getting into looking at the calendar, I had a response to it. Nobody much said anything when we talked about it, which really was top. I wouldn't be opposed if some other people would be to pushing the special called meeting for the mayor's position. It's the week of Thanksgiving and a lot of people travel for a week. I personally feel it's a bad time to do that. I don't want to, with this being such a position, I don't want to jeopardize anybody the opportunity to be there. And on top of that, the earliest that one of the districts, they won't be able to be sworn until November the 4th when it's got an open seat. So you're giving them 19 days to try to decide who they think ought to be the mayor for the next 2 years. I just personally feel that we ought to push it into the first or second week of December and get past Thanksgiving at least, is my opinion, but I'll be open to anybody else got anything to say.
This went out in the paper when? Thursday?
No, Monday.
Monday.
Or Sunday paper, sorry.
Anybody else like to weigh in or?
I think we ought to go ahead and give somebody a good Thanksgiving present.
Okay.
I'd like to weigh in on that one.
I got
Mr. Hill?
Yeah, Chairman Hill, as we discussed briefly, I do think a change of venue to the football stadium might be important. Just because we don't know how many people will turn up and what the attendance might be.
Right. And I was going to bring this up later in an open discussion, but we can go ahead and just openly discuss this right now. So the floor is open to anybody who wants to discuss the idea of Mr. Hill moving it to the football stadium, if that would be an issue.
I mean, do we
or
not
any
have to
suggestions?
do we not have to republicize that if we do?
I think.
I mean, if we have to republicize it, is there something wrong with pushing another week or two so we can miss Thanksgiving? You know, I know that one Miss Keller had weighed in. She was going to have a problem with being here. So
Why do you want to move it to the football field? Explain that.
You won't be able to hear in the gym, much less the football field. Yeah, because I guess these people are going to each speak a bit before they.
I think it needs to be left inside the gym instead of outside in the cold and everything. It needs to be left inside the gym.
I was merely going on the trend lines on the COVID numbers, but sure, let's all go in an enclosed space for a couple of hours and just
hold your breath. Hold your breath. Stay home. You don't want to be there.
All right, now all right, guys. Let's keep this professional. Everybody has their own feelings, and there's people with pre-existing conditions out there that this may seriously affect. And I'm not for or against the mask mandate. I understand that some people do, and I put in my response in the paper that whether it's mandatory or not, I do ask everybody to wear a mask if we do have it in person. Now, if the electronic meeting opens back up, I'm not sure if we can change it back to electronic meeting. I would defer that to Attorney Harden for the proper way to handle this, if the body wants to do that.
all of a sudden everybody's quiet all night long. Or you speak all night and then nobody opens their mouth.
Like when we just get back on with our lives, are we just sitting around waiting for something to come and get us?
I did see on the news earlier that the governor is probably going to make the mask mandate optional for every county to do through the end of the year. So I think he's going to announce something on Tuesday, which will leave it down to the mayor to make that decision. Well, so if she makes that decision, I believe we have the right to enforce the mask mandate if they come into gym, and I believe we can temperature check as well. Is that correct, Attorney Harden?
Not entirely. I did see that about the mask mandate, and if it is, if the authority is extended, the mayor can make that decision if she wants to extend the mask mandate, and we can enforce the mask mandate in the gym inside the public meeting. But to my knowledge, all other restrictions of any kind whatsoever regarding public gatherings have been lifted already. Okay. So we can't just make up things to enforce, but I think we can enforce the mask mandate.
Okay. Does the body have any if this goes through, then we make the mask mandate mandatory. If it does go through, does any of the commissioners still feel vulnerable about attending in person?
That'll
be to Walmart this week.
Yeah, and just let me say, if my opinion matters at all on the meeting to appoint a mayor, I think an electronic meeting is a horrible idea. When you're trying to appoint a mayor, we have an unlimited potential number of nominees. We have lots of folks who would be interested in seeing who gets appointed and want to hear what people say. And, like it or not, the truth of the matter is a lot of people are being excluded by these meetings. I know we're following the rules, but that's just a simple fact. A lot of people are being excluded by these meetings. So in my opinion, even if permissible, an electronic meeting to appoint a mayor for the next 2 years is not a good idea.
Thank you, Josh. Yeah, I've been leaning on you heavily on advice on this, so I appreciate all your input and guidance.
Chairman Hill, what time was that meeting set for on the 23rd?
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
I believe we were looking at having it that week. The schools are closed, so if somebody does come in with COVID, that the virus should be dead by the time the kids come back to school.
Right.
That's good thinking.
Well, would you be opposed if I put this into a form of a motion that we back it up to the 21st? That would be a Saturday, but I'm worried about people trying to get home from work and decide if they want to come to this or not. I mean, it's for the people, really.
Saturday's a bad time. They go out and eat.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people plan their weekend ahead of time, and I'm not sure. I mean, if you want to entertain a motion, I will entertain it. If you get a second, we can take a vote on it. I mean, you put the motion out there. Does anybody want to second Mr. James' motion?
Hold on, never mind. Let me look at this.
Let me say too, Chairman, if I can, that
Yes,
we've
sir.
already got we got a lot of publicity on this already. It's been on TV, both news stations, both newspapers. It's been pretty heavily publicized, and certainly it's within your all's discretion to change it. But we just don't want to create confusion.
Right.
If this decision's already been made.
Well, leave it alone. We'll hope for the best.
Chairman
More
Hill,
comment? Yes, Ms. Holdren, you're recognized.
can you tell us any more about how that meeting will be conducted exactly? Will people have to be nominated before they get a chance to speak, or does everybody speak and then we make nominations? What can you tell me about that?
I believe it'll be just like the commissioners. I think we'll go off of the applications that are turned in, and if they want to speak, they can speak. And then if anybody else wants to come forward, and then I think we'll take nominations based on who all speaks. I think that would be the proper way to go. Does anybody have any more suggestions?
Chairman Hill, one question to Attorney Harden, ACUF, First District.
Yes, sir.
In the past, even though individuals have turned in a qualifying paper, if you will, I thought before they could speak, they had to be nominated by a commissioner. And then we went and let each one of those speak. Are we not going to follow that procedure as we have in the past, or we're going to let everybody answer the questions and then decide, or legally?
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think we could have 10 or 15 people. We don't know how many's going to turn in for this, and I think asking each of these people questions could last a long time. I was just thinking back to one of the positions we filled. And I know everybody got up and just give a little speech. They want a little speech about why they wanted to be constable or whatever it may be, and we didn't really question them like we're going to question for the mayor. So I think it would be appropriate to nominate before we ask questions if the body feels that's the correct way to do it.
Attorney Harden, would you weigh in on that, please?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Nominees should be the only ones allowed to speak. And they can be interviewed at the discretion of the chairman, ask questions. They can give their speech about why they would want to be the mayor. But yeah, I would definitely restrict it to nominees. And it does. If you're only considering people who turn in paperwork ahead of time, you're cutting out part of the field, because of course that's not required. Anybody can be nominated that night, regardless of turning in paperwork. There is a specific part of the statute in play with the mayor position about taking registered voters' suggestions ahead of time. I think Chairman Hill addressed that. If he's going to read those, or if anybody registered voter in the county can submit a name for consideration, and just to do that, it would make sense to voice those at the meeting, I think. But I would restrict the comments and the interview to those nominated in the interest of time in that meeting. There's no use to waste a lot of time on individuals not nominated for the position.
Yes, sir. Let me just make a statement. Would you think that more than likely if somebody doesn't turn in an application or any papers to want to run, and they're basically going to show up at the meeting and want to run, that they're going to ask somebody to nominate them beforehand? Would you expect that?
Yeah, I mean, certainly I would. If I were going to put in for it, I'd probably be talking to people who could vote for me, not worried about turning in a paper. But that's just me. So certainly, I would assume that someone will ask for a nomination ahead of time.
Okay, and just let everybody know, I haven't received any questions or anything from the public as of yet.
Who's working, Chairman Hill, who's working on the format? So, because there's got to be some ground rules somewhere. Otherwise, you're going to wind up with a Chinese, you can't say Chinese, Oriental, you're going an Oriental fire drill. Who is the committee that's working up the format of this shooting match?
Well, I would assume it would be, I asked for suggestions back last commission meeting, and I haven't received very many except for maybe a couple commissioners with more concerns about having the meeting in person. So my original thing was to have 2 split meetings, and I was going to actually have someone from the Republican Party and the Democratic Party to be the moderators and ask the questions, but we can't do it in 2 meetings. So therefore, in the past, I think commissioners have just openly asked questions. I do feel like the questions should be asked the same to each candidate.
Can we reach out to the Republican and Democrat Party and let them formulate us some questions and us choose from those?
That would be perfectly fine. If anybody wants to submit questions, I could submit them to them. They can come up with what questions they want to ask each candidate, and no commissioner will know which questions they pick. Or they can pick their own and decide amongst them. It doesn't matter to me. I'm open for all the suggestions. This is very important to our county.
You appoint a committee because if you don't, it's going to be an egg all over us.
Well, my fear is, and nothing against no commissioners, but if certain commissioners, I mean, anybody, I'm not pointing out anything, but if they have somebody they're picking for, they could leak out the questions of what's going to be asked. I'd rather no commissioners know the questions ahead of time. I would rather for an outside group to know the questions they're going to ask, so it's fair for everybody. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, I'll make a suggestion that you reach out to the head of the Democrat and the Republican Party, ask them both to prepare us 5 questions each and submit them to you the night of, and that way nobody knows what's going on until we get there.
Could you not present them to Josh Harden instead?
Yes, I think that would be fair to get them to Josh, and he can bring them to us the night of the meeting. Would that be okay, Attorney Harden?
Sure, I'm happy to try it. I've attempted to reach out to the Democratic Party chairman on issues regarding county positions before and hadn't got any response. But I'm happy to try, or you can try.
Okay, I'll definitely reach out because I feel like everybody needs to be involved in this. This is very important for our county.
But I would say this too. I mean, I wouldn't restrict anybody's questions or worry about everybody getting the same questions. I mean, it's each individual commissioner's got to vote based on their own feelings. And if they've got a question to ask that doesn't stick with the format or that wasn't asked to somebody else, I wouldn't restrict them from asking that question.
Right, correct. I agree. Any more concerns or suggestions for me?
So, Commissioner or Chairman Hill, ACUF First District, are you asking us if we want to submit questions, we should submit those to Attorney Harden, or are you going to reach out to the respective parties? And
let me reach out to the parties first and make sure I can get both of them on board, and I will send out an email to everybody with those people's email if they will do it. Okay. And we can just submit the questions to each party and let them decide if that's okay.
Yes, sir. It's fine.
Chairman Hill?
Yes, Ms. Holden.
If the chair of the Democratic Party doesn't respond, you might try Pat Buck, who is just the women's Democratic representative in the county. She will respond, I feel certain. Also, I had asked you earlier about having the candidates step out of the room like they did in the debate of 2018. none of the candidates got to hear the other candidates' answers. Are you still considering that?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like that would be very much needed so nobody can hear what everybody else says, which means we need to get somebody, maybe if we're going to school, have them in a classroom with somebody supervising and making sure they're not on their phones getting leads on what's being asked. I think that's a very good point, Ms. Holden.
Get out of me, Ham.
And Chairman Acuff again.
Yes, sir.
I think whoever monitors that room, all cell phones should be taken up and deposited in a box and be left in that box until after the debate.
Agreed. Agreed. Yes, sir.
I agree.
Any more suggestions? Any more commissioner comments?
Chairman?
Yes, I have a couple comments and questions.
Yes, Ms. Collins.
I'd like to know what the criteria is, if there is any, and Mr. Harden, Attorney Harden, you may weigh in on this, on the people that are in the courthouse right now. And are we all free to come to the courthouse during these meetings now, or what's the deal with that exactly? That's my first question, and then I have another question also.
I'm sorry, I didn't really understand. Are you saying in-person meetings, whether or not you're supposed to come to the courthouse for those?
Well, tonight, I mean, can any of us come to the courthouse now to have meetings? I thought the whole purpose for us to get these Chromebooks were, one, to use this and to cut down on paper. But I mean, obviously not sitting 6 feet apart. So what, is that just null and void and we're not following those, or what?
Well, I will agree it's been a little inconsistent, but certainly it's legally permissible for one or more to be in the same room and one or more to be on Zoom. Any combination of numbers is legal to get a quorum for the meeting. I think the intent, obviously, of the Zoom meetings was to protect folks and everybody do it from a distance. And then we had some technology issues and other things that have led to some needing to come in person. But as far as legally permissible, there could be 23 there in person and one on Zoom, and it would still be okay.
Okay, so in the next meeting, we're all free to come to the courthouse then? Is that what you're saying, legally?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. My next question is, Ms. Woodby, I missed the city council meeting. Did you say that they voted on Mr. Birchfield for the appointment for 911 and it was unanimous? I didn't, like I said,
it was unanimous, and they forwarded me a letter letting me know that it was a vote that was unanimous.
They voted on it in city council.
Yeah, they voted on it September 10th.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Collins. Anybody else?
Chairman Hill, I have a problem with the $2,500 being paid to a man that's not doing his job. Carter County Planning and Zoning. I've gotten to where I put things in writing, believe it or not. August the 17th, Monday, August the 17th, I presented in person for a future meeting 2 complaints in the community, and no one has heard from either one of them. One was property was overrun with repulsive odor, according to 3 neighbors, due to goats, only 1 sheep, and house pets. And across the street, several buildings had been put on the property, which contained a mobile home as the primary residence. But a man is living in one of the portable buildings. A kerosene fuel tank is near the building and it's hooked up for heat. There's no evidence of an electric meter. No evidence of an electric meter. So a cord from the mobile home may be the electrical source. at one time, a water hose was used for water source. Probably a line is now buried because it doesn't show the water hose anymore. The portable building has been an awning or a roof has been added as a porch with no ground, with the ground as the floor. I brought two or three of these to the committee 2 years ago. And I was told that I've got to take a deputy, knock on the door, and find out if anybody's living there. Well, hell's bells. It's pretty evident that when you see him on his porch with his rocking chair on the ground. So I don't know why we even try to satisfy the people in the community if we can't get any response.
Mr. Von Cannon, those answers were responded to you by email from Miss Kristen Powell, our codes enforcement officer. And those couple of years ago, they were answered also into the neighbors. And the little outbuilding you're discussing is the guy's dogs live in it, and he sits on his front porch with his dogs.
So what's the bottom line?
Pardon me, sir?
So what's the bottom line?
Well, it's about agricultural animals like goats and chickens and things of that nature. That's not part of our department. We're not a municipal government. We are a county government, so it gives agriculture a great lead. And as far as that building being out there, they've proved to us that it was not being lived in. It was just for these animals in a little workshop. And you should have an email on that, Mr. Von Cannon. I apologize if you don't, but I'll make sure you
I don't. So I accept your apology, I guess.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Amen.
Chairman, before we adjourn, just one point of order here. ACA First District.
Hey, Dr. Acuff.
Several of us attend financial management or budget who aren't on those committees. And I know that there are others who attend committees vis-a-vis Zoom because they appear on our health and welfare committee, et cetera. I would like to request that when those agendas for those meetings are distributed, that they are distributed to the full commission. And it would not be a bad idea, according, and Attorney Harden can correct me, what was in the last comptroller's letter that we received. They're supposed to be put on our county website with the agenda and all the attachments of items that will be presented and discussed at the meetings. It's a little difficult if we're doing Zoom and we're not on that committee and we're not getting the agenda nor the attachments. So I think it's a disservice to not only our citizens, but it's also a disservice to our fellow commission members when we can't see the items that you're discussing.
Yes, sir. So would you like to put that in form of motion that all agendas are sent out to the full body?
Yes, sir, I'll do that. I will move that for committee meetings, all agenda items and attachments of same to be discussed at the meeting be distributed to all commissioners.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Dr. Acuff, second by Ms. Holdren, to send out all agendas and attachments to all committees for their meetings. Any more discussion on that? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Be seeing these put out.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Mark Blevins,
Yes.
Robert A. Cuff,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Bradley Johnson,
Yes.
Mark Tester,
Yes.
Charles Von Cannon,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Jerry Prophet,
Yes.
Austin James,
Yeah.
Ross Garland,
Yes.
Layla Ward,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Bailey,
Yeah.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Sandra Culler,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Robin McCamey,
Yes.
Kelly Collins,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion passed. Thank you all.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir. Mr. Grindstaff.
I was trying to get in right before that vote took place. One thing I'd like to add to that is we have the ability in our county email now to do different groups. And I've helped try to set up some of those for different projects and things that we've done. And if you use the Outlook app on your Chromebooks, it lets you go in and actually gives you a catalog of all the documents that have been sent in those groups. So the all commissioners mayor group that we have with the county attorney, if you click on that, it actually opens up, shows you all the emails, and then can actually show you all the attachments laid out on top of that. And I've been trying to use that to kind of keep track of all the different committees. I would like to see that kind of expanded upon and used more. One set up for each committee, give the committee chairs the ability to access or to control that, and then keep the one for the county commission going and start using those groups more. I think it helps us keep track of a lot of documents easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Isaiah, the two you've got set up already is what, budget and all commissioners plus the mayor and the county attorney?
Yes, and there's some other groups that the county individuals themselves have set up. And another one that I set up was one for the broadband for Dr. Acuff and at the time, the Health and Welfare Committee then. And we started using it to try to keep up, and we kind of deviated away from it a little bit, and then we used it some. But I think that those would be very beneficial for those that want to use the Chromebooks to try to keep up in the county emails.
Got it down there. That's what it looked like. Oh, we already got it.
Did I hear Mr. Garland request to speak?
Chairman, I'll go real quick. I just wanted to share this information. A co-worker of mine who I work with here at Bright Ridge, he's on the rescue squad, I think kind of adventure team, where they go out and kind of rescue these guys, hikers, people that get lost in the woods and everything. I know he was telling me about, I guess this morning, they were actually called out late last night and rescued a couple hikers that were, I think they were above Wilbur Lake. James told me that they had to kind of boat across the lake and hiked in about 2 miles to rescue these fellas. And I think one guy broke his leg, something like that, and it was a major injury to him. And they had, I think he told me like 25 total guys, or maybe ladies also, that were out there on kind of this mission, basically, to rescue these folks, and ended up having to carry this guy like 1.5 miles back, 6 of them, or I mean, I guess more at certain times, and, taking turns. But they're out there, and I think most of them volunteer their time. I'm sure you got Sheriff's Department, some employees out there. I'm sure Rescue Squad, I know they're involved, volunteer firemen, but they do go kind of unnoticed a lot of times and may not get the publicity, or this may not come out in the paper. But just wanted to recognize those ladies and gentlemen that are out there, on their own time and volunteer their time to help the citizens of Carter County. Just wanted to mention that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They do a very good job, the men and the women of our county, and the rescue squad, the volunteer fire departments, the sheriff's department, the police department, all of them do a fine job.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Mr. Travis?
Yes, sir. Mr. Bailey.
I need to cover this and I'll be done. I want everybody to know that the school board has that independent company coming in at the end of this month. We'll be doing that survey through October into November. They don't have a school board meeting in November, but that report will be back for everybody to see in December. I mean, right or wrong, we're down about 150 to 180 kids again. Sooner or later, the schools are going to have to do something. And I'm afraid when this report comes back, there's going to be 1 or 2 is going to be named to be closed. Now, whether they do or they don't, that's not our decision. That's the school board's. But that report will be coming back. So just letting everybody know that. So, I mean, they know they can't keep operating the way it's going. So, and that is an independent company that they're paying to do this report.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Anybody else? I do have one thing I'd like to say. I just like to say, I'm not the greatest speaker in the world. There's other you guys and gals that can speak a lot better than I am. We may not always agree on everything, but let's please show each other the respect that each one of us deserves. We're all equally elected, no matter whether you finish first, second, or third. We're all here to do the people's business, and I feel like that's what we do. The committees all do a great job, and sometimes we say stuff in the heat of the moment that we probably don't mean or that comes out wrong. And I ask us to, let's all moving forward. Let's put all that stuff aside and take care of the business at hand. And that's all I have to say.
Travis,
Yes, sir, Mr. Campbell.
I was in the courthouse Thursday. And I went around about every office downstairs. I didn't go to Murray's office because I knew the answer there. But every one of them bragged on this commission board. Everybody, they had a lot of respect for each and every one of us, the decisions that we've been making. And they said it's a good thing for the county. They said they wished we'd have been here 5, 10 years ago. We'd have made some great decisions. So everything's working well. I make a motion with adjourn, still on the floor.
Motion.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great night.
Hi, everybody. Thank